Hey y'all, welcome to the next lesson in Course 2 at Hummy's World. Each has a different technique for digital scrapbooking, and the technique for this lesson is to make an extraction of a person or an animal, something that you can get the full body of, and prop it up on a huge letter of the alphabet. I, of course, did my adorable dog, Miss Tizzy. Now, I'm going to give you some tips and ideas. I am in the full version of Photoshop CC, but I want to show you a few things in the full version, but this can be done in Photoshop Elements. If you've already done all the lessons in Course 1 and Course 2, you'll be able to do this in whatever version of the program you have. First of all, let me close out my styles. Let's deconstruct this just a little bit. I'm going to take off my text. This around the edge is simply a border that I purchased from Amy Wolf at, I think, the Lily Pad. I love Amy Wolf stuff, and that completed my page. So this is my basic layout. I'm going to go ahead and remove the letters and go back, and I started with this image of me and my Miss Tizzy. She is the best snuggler, and this is her sitting in my lap snuggling my front side. And I want to show you how I extracted it. I've got plenty of tutorials on extraction, so I'm not going to take a long time to do this. Basically, I kept the original there in case I wanted to start over, but I'm using the non-destructive method of extracting. And so I did do a Control J to put this on its own layer, and then I made this one invisible. So I had this layer to work with. Now I made a basic selection around Miss Tizzy. I did use the polygonal lasso tool, which is in Photoshop Elements also. I just simply I zoomed in much more than I am here, and I just went all the way around her body very carefully. It took me a while. I wonder, though, if I use the quick selection for this tutorial, if I could quickly get something. I just want to show you. Hold down my Alt key, subtract the areas I don't want. I am not going to take time to do this well. I just want to give you the method that I used. So there is my very quick selection. I did use the polygonal lasso tool. You see it works a little bit better for this particular photo than, better get her nose, than this quick selection tool. And once you get your basic selection, just go and hit the add a layer mask, and you see it selects her out, and now we have a mask. For masks, we always remember black conceals and white reveals. I think it's the other way around. White reveals and black conceals. So you see in our layer mask here, the white area is revealing, and the black area is concealing. And then, so I went and got my brush, hit D on my keyboard to get black and white, X to make the black the foreground color, because I have some extra here that I don't want. And so I'm going to click down, make sure I'm on my mask. I know I'm on my mask because I have a little white outline around it. And I'm going to simply draw around those areas that I don't want to be revealed. And it looks like it chopped off her other eye here. So I'm going to hit X on my keyboard, or I could hit this little arrow, but X on my keyboard exchanges them again. And I'm going to reveal her eye again. And so, whoops, see, I went too far, X, and I can get rid of it where I went too far. So basically that's how I did it. Now my hand, I don't have the hand showing. Let me quickly make my brush much larger. I mean, your photo is going to be different than mine. You see, I had some of the hand still showing, even after I extracted my hand. And so I did hold down my control key and click on the thumbnail of the mask to get a layers mask. And then I used my clone tool, which there are, I need to go, I was on the mask. I needed to be working on the, and hit Control Z. I needed to be working on the image and not the mask. So then I just cloned out the hand is what I did, because it's just white fur back there without my hand. So that is the basics for how I got my extraction, which is here. And my extraction has some drop shadow on it, which I'm going to share with you a little bit later. I see I probably could have got around her ear a little better. May have to go back and do that. Now we're going to work on, here is the letter, my letter C. And what I'm going to recommend you do is you need to visualize what letter you're going to use and visualize where you're going to prop it up. This is where your uniqueness and your creativity is going to come. So you make a very huge letter, and I'm going to highlight it. And I am in the full version of Photoshop, so I have my character tool over here where I can scroll through my text and I can look at each one of them. You see, it depends on what I'm going for. Now these ones with the serif, where it has on the ends of the letters here, like mine has this shape, those are great places for you to prop people up, because you can prop them right on top of these little flat areas. You can wind them around this the ending areas depending on your letter. Now if you're in if you're in Photoshop Elements, you can still scroll through, but I'm going to have to zoom out, because let me undock it and zoom in. And so we can still scroll through, but I have to get my image away from this list. And you can still scroll through, and you can see that, like this one is italic. Sometimes the italic worked better of the same letter, just because it leaned a little bit to the right and it fit into my image that I have. So my recommendation is for you, now see, this one wouldn't work too well because there's nothing for her to lean on. It's not fat enough. So my recommendation is for you to first make your extraction and then choose your letter and what style of letter, because your style of letter that you, and just go through ones you already have installed. See, this one's nice, straight up and down. So if I had a giraffe with a long neck, I could stick it on this C. So as you can see, it each of these letters really changes, and you can find something that works for you. I'm going to change the letter now to maybe a T. Oh, that's a 7. Oh, you can do numbers. Didn't think about that for like somebody's birthday, and then maybe have somebody laying on top of this 7. Um, a T, a small case T. Somebody could be curved here. You may have to pose your photo before you take it, of having somebody laying down, somebody standing up. It really helps to have um, a full length so that you can have somebody actually sitting somehow on here. Maybe you might have somebody sitting with their legs over the edge. So on this T, you could rest somebody up here on this curve with their feet hanging down here. You could rest something here. You could rest something here. So you just have to go through the alphabet. Let's see. Here's a K. Oh, look at all the places on the K. Here and up here at the top, and even here, like they're going to slide off. So just D. I'm just hitting random letters. There she is. She could have been sitting in that hole, and I could have used the whole word adorable, and that would have worked. And of course there's capital letters and lowercase. I happen to be hitting lowercase letters. L. Oh, look. L would have worked for this, but you could have somebody with their feet up in the air. You could have put somebody here with their feet coming over the edge. You can prop somebody up at the top. If you want, you can even get creative and use your imagination, and maybe I've done this before, and set a little pot of flowers on top in addition to your person. Look through your kits, your digital scrapbooking kits. And A, that's a little bit more difficult, but somebody could be leaning right here with their feet off. So just look at your letters and use your imagination. This would be funny. Somebody just bent and holding on and hugging the edge of this. That might be a hard one to do. So that is my suggestion. Your creativity is what's going to make this. Get your image of somebody laying, a full image, or standing in some unique person, and in some unique position, and then go out and find a letter to make it work. So this is my letter, and actually, I think this was my original letter. I don't remember which one was my original, but in order to make my C and make it a 3-dimensional, I had to make a duplicate. So, and you see, and then I changed it slightly. I have a tutorial somewhere for 3D text. I'll link it on the class guide. But I did sort of a fake 3D by just using 2 copies of my letter. And so here was my original letter, and then this would be my copy, and I just simply highlighted it and changed the color, and I just went in. The original color was up here, and I went down to the color picker, and I chose just a slightly darker color. And then I needed to position it. You see, it's not positioned well. Here's my final version that's positioned a little bit better. This one, you can see like this, these lines here don't match, and these lines here don't match. So what I did was I hit Control J to duplicate this, and I made the first one invisible in case I needed to go back. And in Photoshop Elements, you're going to right click and choose Simplify. In the full version, you're going to rasterize type, and then grab your Move tool and click down on a corner and begin trying to resize it to make it fit. Now in Photoshop Elements, your only options really are to hold down your Control key so that you can distort the text. And that there is not too bad, and that would work a lot better. In your full version of Photoshop, if you click down, you're going to be able to see this little icon up here, and that allows for warp mode, and you can actually grab right down in the middle and drag around until you get everything to line up, and that's a great advantage in the full version of Photoshop. So you're going to have to use your imagination. I forgot when I duplicated it, I also had to move it over. Whoops, Control Z. So originally this was right here, and maybe I would have moved it over here for depth. But I was going after something that, because it didn't look like Miss Tizzy was setting on anything. So I needed something for her to set on for depth. And so that's why I moved it this way until it gave me an area down here. You see, originally like this, it doesn't look like she's setting on anything, but then I moved it up like this, and then that gave her a spot to be sitting on. But then I had to fix up the edges. So depending on where you put your person or animal or whatever it is you're putting on there that you're extracting, that is going to cause you, maybe I would want it to go this way. If it's somebody sitting up here along the top, I'm going to want it to go that way. If it's somebody sitting on the top up here, maybe I have a letter that has a long line up here at the serif, then I'm going to want it to go that way. So you just have to use your imagination and be creative for whatever letter that you are working with. Now, for the drop shadow, I wanted to show you this. If I have multiple drop shadows, and there's lots of drop shadow tutorials at Hummy's World, so hopefully you all have some skill on that, because the drop shadow really makes a difference. But I wanted to show you this in the new Photoshop CC that came out for those that have CC in 2015, because this is just the most cool thing. I never dreamed that they would do this. To do multiple drop shadows in Photoshop Elements, you're going to have to put the drop shadows on their own layer, and I will link you up with that tutorial in the guide in case you want to practice that. But I'm going to click on this and open it up in Photoshop CC. You can see I can add multiple drop shadows. You don't have, when you start out, you don't have all of your list of all of your types of styles here. You have to add each one individually by clicking here and choosing one. So I could add another drop shadow by clicking on that, and it's added here at the top. And let's say I don't want to use global light because I want this shadow to be cast. There's nothing on the left side. So let's say I want this to be cast more to the left. And I want it to be more straight left. Spread it out. I'm not able to get it where I want it to go currently. But as you can see, why is that not going where I want it to go? But anyway, as you can see, you can add multiple drop shadows. See, I can take this one off, and you can see this is my final that I did, and then I can take this one off, and then this one off, this one off. You can see how each one adds depth. I'll add them back on. This one has it coming up around the edges. This one added around this edge, and this one added more depth around here, and then this one here. And then I also have a stroke on mine. My stroke is an inside stroke of 4 with the fill type of color for a little bit of shadow. But anyway, that's what's so cool about the full version of Photoshop. In order to add each one of those, in other versions, all you got to do is get your shadow on a different layer and reposition it. So I added that text and all of my text, and then all I did, whoops, here's a date, was add this border that I purchased, and it brought it all together. So that is basically it for this tutorial. If you want to do the full 3D text option instead of just 2 layers of text, you can do that. It certainly might be more realistic. If you want to go back and reinforce the drop shadow on its own layer, in Photoshop Elements or in earlier versions of Photoshop, you can certainly do that. I really think you can get your creativity on with this one, and just be artistic. This one isn't so much for preserving memories as it is for just having fun. So I look forward to seeing what you do.